Drawing animals is actually pretty easy, and the best part is we're going to be drawing an animal that you stare at literally every day. Drawing is really just observation, and the fact that you've been observing your pet for however long you've had them is already a leg up. So we're going to be drawing them by breaking them down into really simple shapes and adding really cute details to capture their personality. To help you get started, I've created a worksheet to really explain what I mean when I say breaking them down into simple shapes. Let's go ahead and draw an animal together so I can show you exactly what I mean when I say breaking them down into simple shapes. So this image is a free image from Unsplash. Thank you to whoever took a picture of their sweet little pup for us to use for this class. I'm going to assume that you are going to be using a picture of your own pet, although feel free to grab some pictures of pets, like royalty-free pets that you want to practice this technique on. If for some reason you're feeling anxious about capturing your pet and you want a pet that you don't even know to practice on. So I'm going to show you the steps I went through, and then of course you can work through the worksheet and there'll be plenty of example pictures as well for you to look at. So when I first got started, I took the dog image and I drew over top of it to break down the simple shapes. So these are the main shapes that I gathered from the image. Again, lots of circles, and this is where a handy dandy where we draw a circle and hold it can come into play, and you can draw circles that way, or you can draw them freehand. Good for you. I broke down like his arms because I'm of course going to capture those, the general shape of his ears, and of course his cute little curly tail and his legs. But from here, little just simple shapes. How simple can you get it? And then again, like I drew like this line just because I wanted an idea of like where his little head would come in. So that's why that line's there. But overall, everything else, super basic shapes. From there, I did a first sketch on top of the simple shapes. Now, the sketch was fine, but for me, it felt a little too realistic, and that's not what I like going for. Like, I didn't super love where his eyes placement were. I just kind of placed them where they were, and I wanted his tail to be fluffier, but that wasn't really true to like the original illustration and didn't quite look right. And this leg was throwing me off, so I decided to make another iteration. As we do as artists, you definitely should make all the sketches. So then I made a second sketch. This one was more on track. I felt like these arms looked off. If you'll look, his arms actually end right here, but I drew them all the way up here because I wanted him to capture that cute scrunchiness. And then again, his ears, like this one ended a little bit further, and then his tail was kind of like tucked in, but I brought it out. So those kind of like stylistic choices that we can make. And then like the little floofs on the belly and the little dots for where his whiskers would be because I didn't really want to draw big whiskers. Again, not super happy with this part, but we're almost there. So I decided to try one more sketch. And then boom, the final pup was born. I drew this little line to kind of indicate his arms, and then I kind of moved their placement a little bit so it made a little bit more sense with my drawing, but I still kept this little like scrunched in proportions. And then if I bump the opacity up of the dog image, you'll see it is not exactly where we got started, but it still looks like it. So that's the main purpose. We want to like take all the things we like about our image and then stylize it how we see fit. I did do some guidelines from my first sketch because I was having a really hard time with this like curve going on. So if you see in the worksheet, it does say like add guidelines. This is why I added those guidelines. It kind of helped me straighten out his body for this final sketch. And then from there, I just colored him in, and you can color him in any way you want. Now that we've stylized our pet and we really explored different types of illustrations and we've narrowed it down to this one specific one that we really like how it looks, we're going to explore that design further. The reason we do this is because not only do we need to practice drawing it a couple more times, but going through this can help us when we animate because we need to know what is their tail going to look like when they're like turned sideways instead of just front on. What are they going to look like when they're angry? What are they going to look like when they're super excited? It's basically just getting some of the hard work out of when we go to animate because we'll already kind of know, oh, well, I want the illustration style to look like this. And when they do this, it's going to look like this. So yeah, I am gonna stop talking now and we're gonna move on to exploring your design.